The ZRoadz 50-inch straight double row LED light bar in the spot and flood combination is for those of you that have a 1987 all the way up through the most current model year Wrangler that are looking for a ton of auxiliary lighting. This is going to provide a lot of additional light output that you wouldn't get from just your headlights or a lot of the other smaller auxiliary lights that you can put on your vehicle. This is going to be a pretty easy light bar to install. I'd imagine most of you are going to use a 50-inch LED light bar that will put this bar above the windshield of your Jeep. That's really the only spot to put a bar that is this large, and you're going to have to purchase that separately. But if you do buy a mount like that, there's not going to be any drilling to do with this installation. However, you are going to have to do a little bit of wiring to get this powered up. So I'm going to go with a 2 out of 3 wrenches for this installation, and we'll show you how to get that done in just a second. So when you're talking about auxiliary lighting, when you're talking about a 50-inch LED light bar like this, you're going to find options that are all over the spectrum as far as both quality and price. So you can find your bargain basement priced light bars. They're going to be $100 for one of these plus a couple of cubes, all your mounting, all of your wiring, and you're not going to get a lot of quality there. On the flip side of that, you can find just a 50-inch LED light bar similar to this one in looks that's going to cost twice as much, and you are going to get some more quality out of those premium brands. So where you're going to fall in that spectrum really comes down to what you're looking for. If you like the look of a 50-inch light bar on your Jeep, but you're not going to be using it all that often, you can probably get away with something a little bit less expensive. This is going to be a little bit more of a balance of quality and price. So not the $1,000 light bar, but also more quality than the $100 light bar. So somewhere in that area. This is going to be an extruded aluminum housing like you're going to find with most of the other light bars, a nice powder coat finish on it. This is going to have a polycarbonate lens. The double row design is something that you'll find with a lot of other options as well. So this is going to have a total of 100 Cree LEDs. Cree is important because it means that the actual chip, the diode itself inside of this, is going to be something that is quality, so it's not going to burn out on its own very quickly. But sometimes with a light bar like this, if the rest of the construction isn't up to snuff, you can end up with some moisture behind the lens, and that can burn out your diode a little bit quicker. Again, with this, I think you are getting a good balance of quality and price, so I don't suspect that that would be too much of an issue for you. From this light bar, you're going to be producing right around 23,000 lumens, which is a ton of light. This is not going to be a bar you're going to be able to be using on the road when there's oncoming traffic. This is going to be for use on those dark back roads when there's nobody coming towards you, if you need a little bit more light, or of course on the trail. With that being said, you are going to get 2 different beam patterns from this same light bar. And again, that's pretty common. You'll see that with a lot of these. So in the center here, you'll have a clear optic, a clear reflector, and that's going to produce a spot beam. That's going to throw light very far down the trail in front of you. And on the outside here, you have a little bit more of a crinkle on the reflector behind your diode, and that's going to give you a little bit more of a scattered light. That's going to be more of your flood beam, and that's going to light up the gutters to either side of the Jeep. So it really does give you a nice combination of lighting there. Now, we talked about the wiring that's necessary with this a little bit. One thing that I do like about this that you're not going to find on a lot of the less expensive light bars out there is that this comes with a weather-tight connector here. A lot of the other ones will just have this pigtail right on the end of the cord here, no connector, so you'll have to add your own. A lot of the real premium brands will actually come with a full wiring harness that's going to have a fuse, a relay, and a switch. This does not come with that. So again, that just kind of supports that in the middle of quality and of price. You're not at the premium, but you're also not at the least expensive, most basic. Again, this is something that I really do like. We've talked a little bit now about price and quality. This is going to come in at right around that $415 mark. And again, it is really right in the middle as far as price goes, but I do think you're going to get something pretty quality. If you're somebody who's out there every single weekend, you're wheeling at night, you need a ton of light, you want something that's going to throw light down the trail a little bit further than this one will, that's going to throw a few more lumens than this one will. We do have those options available, but they are going to be more expensive. And as I mentioned before, if you're just looking for a light that's going to make your Jeep look cool, and there's nothing wrong with that, you can probably get away with something that's even less expensive than this one is. So we've said before, you're going to mount this on one of those bolt-on mounts. Let me show you exactly how to get this thing bolted up to your Jeep.
Tools used for this installation are as follows: a pair of wire strippers and crimpers, the Allen keys supplied in the kit. Also, what you're gonna need is a toggle switch, some butt connectors, and some wiring. All right, now let's begin the installation of our new light bar. And with the help of our friend Ryan here, we're gonna go ahead and get it installed. these are a little long and cumbersome, and once your brackets are in place, you're definitely gonna need the help of a friend to lift them into place. Now we're gonna use the tools that comes in the kit. It comes with about 4 Allen keys for the whole kit. This one, we're gonna use the larger one that comes in for the 2 Allen head bolts that come with it. Let's go ahead and get it installed. All right, now that your light bar is installed, it's snugged down, well, we gotta wire it in, so, well, you can turn it on. It's not there just for show. Now I'm gonna give you a quick run through on a little bit of wiring. Now you can use a toggle switch of your choice, or you can go ahead and get yourself a switch panel with multiple toggle switches in it, made for your Jeep. That choice is really up to you. I'm gonna just use a small toggle switch I have on hand just to show you how this is done. Now, as you can see on the side of our light bar, I already have a couple connectors on there. I quickly put those on just to get it out of the way, but I'm gonna show you how it's done. If you've never actually done this before, you're gonna get yourself a really good set of wire strippers. Now, you're gonna see multiple holes on one end of them. These are for actually stripping the casing off your wire. Now, I don't advise using just a regular pair of snips or a pair of scissors or a razor blade, nothing like that. That could actually cause damage to your wiring, or you can hurt yourself. You don't really wanna do that either. So you can go ahead, choose the hole that fits your wiring. Usually they are marked for the different gauge of wiring. Very small, so really can't show you on camera, but on one side you'll see an array of numbers that'll go right along with the size of your wire. So go ahead, strip the wire back a little bit. Now you don't want to go too far with it. You want just enough to fit inside your butt connector. That's if you're using a butt connector. That's what we're going to use today, so that's what I'm going to show you. You can also solder all this together. Solder's not a bad choice. It's a little bit more permanent, but you're going to want to make sure you use like a heat shrink tube to keep it more weather safe. Just go ahead, slide your wire into your butt connector, and with the crimping side of your tool, go ahead and crimp them together. Once you've done that, just go ahead, give them a little tug, make sure they're nice and tight. Now to make this more weather sound, you can wrap this in a little black electrical tape, or even also get that same shrink wrap that I was telling you about earlier and shrink that over it. Now I put that lead on our positive side. Now that's gonna go to the positive side of your battery. I like to put my switches on my negative side. This way you're not running too much power through your switch that doesn't become your weak point. Now I'm gonna take my toggle switch, and I already have one butt connector on that side. I'm gonna plug that in there. And I'm gonna take my other piece of wire to go to my common ground, or you can ground it right to your battery and put that on the other side of my toggle switch. Now you wanna make sure once it's all wired up that all your wire is ran, hidden, tucked away safely where it's not gonna get pinched, cut, burn, anything where your power wire mostly will not touch any other metal and ground itself out, because that could cause a short in the system. You can burn out your brand new light, or even worse, you can burn up your vehicle. Nobody wants to see that happen. Now, once you got these attached to your battery, you can click your light on and see how it looks. All right, now everything is mounted, it's wired up, our switch is in place where we like it. Get out there on the trails and light up the night. Remember, these are off-road use only. I'm Tony, this is Extreme Terrain, and make sure you give us a visit online at extremeterrain.com.